Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's December 17th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And before we get started, I'm probably going to start my vacation tomorrow. I may trade tomorrow, and if I do, I'll do a chart lesson before I leave. It might not be a full day's worth or whatever if I leave early, but I haven't decided yet. I may just take the entire day. I'm just going to kind of see how I feel in the morning. If I want to come in and trade, I will. And if I decide I don't want to, you can tell we're kind of getting into the holidays. There's rollover still probably going on as well. A lot of sideways action. Plus, as we get closer to the uh, Christmas holiday, December 25th, as we get closer to that date, the volume is going to continue to probably go down. And things are going to, doesn't mean we can't get some big days or something crazy happen and get a lot of volume, but for the most part, it's probably going to be quiet. It's just the way it is not during the holidays. So I generally like to take those last couple of weeks of the year off, and I'm probably going to start tomorrow. So, however, if you're subscribed to the channel, if you want to go look, you'll see the video that's up there. And but if you're subscribed, you'll get to make sure you um, click on the notifications or whatever, and you'll get notified if there's a video. And then you don't have to guess if I put one up there or whatever. So, but anyway, let's get into today, and we'll take tomorrow as it comes. But definitely from Thursday on, I'm going to take off, and probably going to just take off tomorrow. So anyway, it was a range day today. For the early part, we trended up, and then we just trended along sideways into 2 o'clock. We kind of sold off a little bit after 2 o'clock, but you can see we closed well inside the range, and you probably can't see this little light line here, but that's the 315 close, and we got looks like a tick below that, and now we're trading right there at the overnight low. Actually, we didn't get outside the overnight lows. We just got outside the closes, so we're still trading within the overnight lows basically. So from yesterday or from today, actually, I say yesterday because we're in the next trading day now. So basically, this is all it's today's trading, but based on the way this thing does, it's yesterday. So I don't want to confuse anybody there, but I might have totally confused you now. But anyway, uh, mostly just sideways, and it's a real tight, and it got tighter and tighter late in the afternoon until finally we sold on off down to test the lows, and we just couldn't get through this support. You can see how we would make these little congestion areas and little strong lows. Look at that little strong low, and you get a little failed break. Same thing here, you get a little failed break. And we did that a couple times during the day, and those were good opportunities to buy actually, especially on this little repeat here. I don't have this line drawn, but you can see that support area, and actually it would have been right here. Then you get that little failed break lower. Same thing here. Look at all those matching lows, that little failed break lower. And but eventually we did get on through. So, but there's a few trades in here, a couple of really good trades as well, especially early on, and then you just had to kind of tough it out here. So, but anyway, let's talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up, and probably gonna wrap up the day and probably wrap up the year too. It's been a pretty good trading year, so hopefully you've had a good one as well. And regardless, I hope everybody has a great Christmas holiday and a happy new year. And I wish all of you the best for 2020. I hope you all have a blessed and prosperous new year. And we'll get started back on this after the first of the year. So, but I like to take a break, spend some time with my family, and enjoy the break personally. So when you're new to trading and you get that eagerness and you want to trade every chance you get, but after doing this for 20 years, I like to take a break. So anyway, let's talk about the trades. When I came in, we were in an obvious trading range, and we were headed back towards the top here. And notice you got that low, and you get a first entry, then you shoot right through the EMA, pull back and test it, and get a failed second entry short. And that's a nice bullish bar too. So when prices broke higher there, you want to go long. And you're just looking for prices to retest the high. We actually make a new overnight high here. This is still in the overnight hours up here. So But this was a nice, if you catch this one trade, that's a nice move. And of course, we run up here, and then we get a little reversal pattern right here. Normally, you want to see this come through the EMA, but here we're still way away from the EMA on a second entry short. And it's a failed second entry long, and that's a nice bearish bar. So if you can get in that trade, I like riding it back to the EMA. And, at this point, you would think we'd probably go all the way back to the lows, but we come back up here and test these highs one more time. I'm not crazy about this long. This is considered a higher low here. Notice you got a little close outside and a new low all in one bar, and you got another test of it too. So you might consider going long there. I think you're better off to wait this one out. It turns out to be a nice trade. If you took these three, if you took these two, you're probably done. But if you took these three, you're probably definitely done for the day. But this thing runs back up, and you test that high again, and then you get a double test, and it actually breaks higher and then turns and goes out the other side. Goes short right there. And generally, your expectation would be you're going to ride this all the way down. So you may try to catch a runner up here, especially that far away from the EMA. And notice what it does. It pushes through that EMA, very little resistance, pulls back, and gives you another bearish bar. And you could consider that's a lower high, but it also can be considered a second entry or failed second entry long. Either way, you want to take that one, and you get to ride that one down. And of course, always measure these. Look for your measured moves. This one would be here to there, and you can see that one's pretty close. Then I would measure this one and look for a measured move from here, and you can see that one went just a little further. And so always measure those measured legs. And same thing here when we started back up. Measure that first leg. There's your second one, another measured move up, and then you're headed down. So always measure those. Sometimes I forget to talk about those, but we always want to use those measured moves. But anyway, nice move down, and then we bounce down here. And this is another one. I didn't mark this one, but that little failed break lower, you got a lot of congestion right there. And, at this point, that's really the midpoint. You can see the blue line. And you could see it acting as support. Now we're below it. That's a little dangerous. I'd wait. And then, of course, you get a new low, and you push up, and you get a first entry, and then a second entry, and it fails. If it breaks higher here, we're probably going back up, and that's what it does. I marked this one green. It's not a perfect setup by any means, but it might be one you consider to go long there. And then we're just we're coming back down. We get this close outside. And there's a failed second entry long right there. And that's another one you could consider. But again, I didn't mark it. It's just not a great setup. This is where you can get whipsawed. When you get in the middle here and you start flip-flopping around until unless you're playing off some consistent support and resistance, which we're not here. You notice how we're turning down up here and then here. It's not consistent here. So, and you got a lot of support right there as well. I don't have a line drawn across there, but you can see that support right across there. And you just got to be careful going short right into that. Turns out it works. But then you do the same thing here, and then you get the little failed break lower. Again, you got to be concerned about this, but this is probably going to trap some people, and you'll probably at least get a scalp out of it. And it may go all the way back to the top. You do get your scalp, and you actually could have got a runner on that, and I might try to keep one on those little failed breaks. So generally, you got to be, on a range day, you want to be limited on your runners you keep because most of them will just get stopped out. But when you get these little failed break lower or failed break higher, or you're way away from the EMA at the very top or the very bottom, that's when you might want to keep a runner. And if you did enter that and keep one, you still got a nice little run back up to these highs right here. Now your resistance is just kind of moved down into this level right across here. And notice you get a close outside, a new high, and you got a double test here. You made that high, you test it once, you test it twice, you got a nice little bearish bar, you're a little bit away from the EMA. it's not perfect because generally you want to wait on a lower high, but again, you got to double test. You got lots of reasons there to take that, so you may take that one too. And it runs down. You get a lower high here, but it's right into all that support, and just no good reason to go short there. And it's tempting to go long here on this double test, but now you're right back into these highs. And at that point, I would have had that here, but you still didn't have a whole lot of room. But once you got these new closes down here, I moved it down. So, but when it comes back down and gives you another test, and this bar is much smaller, then you probably take that one. However, what you want to do is just make sure that you got enough room to get out before these highs here. And again, you still might have had this one up here at that time, and that gives you plenty of room. So I still marked it green because you needed to be concerned with this being sideways and being fairly tight. But that one is so close, you could argue for that to be blue. It's late in the day, too. It's almost near 2 o'clock. So just something to consider. You could argue for that to be blue. It's like right there at the border. So I'll change it over. But it's real close. Because if you playing this as your resistance, it still would have worked, but you didn't quite have enough room to get out there. So that's the reason I originally marked it as green. But really, at that point, if this is your far right of your chart and you don't have any more price action, you might still have this. You would probably at least have it there, but you'd probably have it up here. And that gives you plenty of room. So, and then, of course, we run back up and it turns down right here again. And you get a relatively small bearish bar. And again, just as long as you got enough room, take that trade. And it's tempting to go long again here. This is just right after 2 o'clock, but it broke lower and turned up. So, if you're still trading, you might even take that one. Just make sure you got enough room to get out. You might let it break higher and drop a limit order if you need an extra tick or something there. Just see if you can get filled on it. So, considering it was a range day, there's still several easy to find trades here for the most part. It's not as easy as when it's consistent where it turns down every time at this level or it turns up every time at this level. That's when it gets almost, you can almost do it with your eyes shut then. I mean, I honestly, when the support's real strong like this across here and you got plenty of room to get out, those are no-brainers really. I love those kind of days where it's consistent, where every time you come down here, you turn up, and every time you come up here, you turn down. And I mean, you can almost do it with your eyes closed. And I like those kind of days because they're very consistent and it's very obvious what's going to happen. And people that aren't used to it and they're taught, have been learning the wrong way all these years that, most everywhere you go, they teach you to buy on the breakout down here or rather sell on a breakout down here and buy on a breakout up here. And that's the exact opposite of what you need to be doing. If it breaks out up here and you've had consistent resistance up here, you want to sell. Because even if you're going higher, you're going to get enough to get a quick scalp out of it. And most of the time you're not going higher until you get a breakout down here, and then you might trade and keep on going through, or vice versa from the other side here. But when you get these consistent support areas and consistent resistance areas, you're looking to get short off of the resistance and long off the support, and that's the way you got to trade that. And it fails so rarely that even when it does, it's you're going to get it right probably 90% of the time if you trade it using the rules the way we teach it. So anyway, not a bad trading day, not a great trading day, but certainly, I mean, you could have been done. It was a nice start out here on a range day, and you could have been done pretty quickly. So I like these kind of days, like I said. No reason to even have to sit through all this if you started at 7 o'clock. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is probably going to wrap it up for the year. We'll just have to see. And who knows, occasionally during the holidays, if I get bored, I might come in and do a chart lesson or do something. So you might hear from me again, but most likely it'll be after the first of the year. And if you would, until after the holidays, and hold your trading questions and stuff. I know that's a long time, but it makes it easy for me. And plus, if I don't look at it, but once a week or something, and don't look at it really till I come back, then the questions are so old they probably don't make sense anymore anyway. So if you would hold all your trading questions and until after I come back from the holidays, and I'll be happy to answer them then. It just helps keep me from getting too far behind and makes my life easier. So I appreciate it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody has a happy new year. In case I don't talk to you again, but we'll come back here the first year and we'll get at it again. So, but I'm done for today. I'm done for the year. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.